there, and welcome to my YouTube channel, Julia McNeil Crafts. So today begins a new collaboration with some various craft brands that are involved in a Facebook group called Crafting Together with All Brands. What we try and do in there is bring lots of lives, lots of inspiration from lots of companies, and we just encourage you to, I don't know, get that craft stash used and to provide lots of inspiration. So now we're kind of moving all of that inspiration over onto YouTube as well, and we're starting with a collaboration with some of the admin team that help to run the group, and we will gradually be expanding this amazing source of inspiration, so stay tuned with that. Today we're just kind of going to do what you kind of, if you get stuck with inspiration, what you can do. So we've got a lovely little sketch here, and these are great because sometimes we want to create but we're not quite sure where to start, what to do, and a little sketch to follow takes the thinking out of composition a little bit, also maybe moves us into a composition that's not normally us. Sometimes we kind of, I know I do, that I end up sort of doing the same sort of ideas all the time, so it's sometimes nice to do something a little bit different. I want Hope to be my feature image. She's actually a JMC Digi and she's free, which is even better. So if you want to get hold of your free Digi, there will be a link in the description box below. So I want her to be my feature. So one of these strips here that's kind of in the background is going to end up being her, which means I'm going to sort of adjust the size of all the other bits and pieces around it, but it'll still work, and I've still used this as inspiration. So it's not like this is set in stone, and if it's not quite the right measurements it doesn't work. It's fine, it's just about getting you started. So another thing that I like to do to get me started is just to start getting a little bit of colour on the page. I find it's almost like exercising my creative muscles. So I'm going to take one of those, I think. Yeah, I find it's a bit like a warm-up, and I just get myself started. Now, because I've already coloured up the gorgeous Hope in blues and yellows, those are the colours that I'm wanting, and of course they'll not be the ones that I've got to hand. Organisation would be a wonderful thing. I'm also doing my usual, that this is due to go up at 9 o'clock and I'm busy filming at 8 o'clock. So yeah, it's just been one of those weekends, unfortunately. It's all sort of disappeared without me knowing what is happening to it. So I'm just going to, it'll be a nice, quick and easy make, but sometimes that's good as well, because sometimes we maybe feel, if we're wanting to create, that we've got to have lots of time to sit down and get all our lotions and potions out, and or whatever, and we feel like you need a long time to create, and very often we don't. If we've got stuff to hand, if we've got a bit box or bits and pieces just to hand that we can use, we can normally put something together very quickly. And then if we've got the added extra of the sketch done for us as well, that's just something else that we can use just to help us get that little bit of creativity. Oh, look at that, so pretty! A little bit of creativity on the page. It gets us started, gets us going. We've had our little crafty fix. I honestly believe that going for doing a little bit of crafting, a little bit of creation, is as good for your overall health and well-being as going for a walk regularly. So, but sometimes trying to, maybe in busy lives, fitting it in can be difficult. So having solutions that help to make it a little bit easier for us can really help. So I'm just getting this down, and as I said, I find just the process of putting ink through a stencil and creating a bit of a background, at this stage I maybe don't exactly know what I'm doing and where I'm going, but it almost just gets the creativity flowing. It gets me started in a place where I kind of feel like I could get somewhere. Okay, so this is just a little bit of a nod in the background. Now I'm going to look around at my messy desk that is on the job list of jobs for today and get a sentiment stamp. I'm just going to flick beside me and grab something. Okay, so I quickly pulled out this stamp set. It just says, "Be yourself today, you look beautiful," like that. And I'm getting a grey Memento ink pad, and this is just because, again, I'm just wanting to create a bit of a background element. It's not going to be seen overly much, it's just a little bit of interest. I like to work with layers. I like there to be levels of interest that you find yourself looking and keeping looking. And so I'm just sort of tapping it in the ink and moving it a few times. Sometimes we get these beautiful big text stamps that have got loads of text on them, but you can very quickly and easily build up that look yourself with just one small sentiment stamp. You just need to sort of repeat stamp it a little bit, and by sort of stamping multiple times like I am now, we get sort of a nice distressed feel. And I'm just going to pop that in 3 different areas, and it's just a little bit of added detail, and I've gone for the grey as opposed to the black so that it sinks into the background. Okay, so what I am going to do now is I have got some papers from 2 different collections. Delightfully Dotty paper, because we have got some gorgeous yellows in this collection. Just trying to pull up a page so I can show you. So we've got some lovely yellows and things in this, and I've also picked up the Amethyst Dreams collection, because we've got lots of lovely cool blues in this one like that, and I think those colours are going to go really nice with our girl there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a little look at my picture there. So she's the equivalent of one of those strips, so I need 2 strips of paper there, and 1 for the background, 2 for the foreground there, and I need 2 circles. So what I'm going to do is go away and cut some of these strips out and then get it all ready to... Okay, so I've cut out my strips of paper according to, well, basically not quite according to the sketch, but I've got the 2 strips to go one way and the 2 strips to go the other. This also, the image also being one of the strips. Now just to tie it all together, I am going to ink round using the inks I've just used. She says, having lost, there we go. Honestly, it'd be amazing if I had a brain. Right, so I'm just going to ink around the edges of these just to tie it together. Yeah, so I'm going to do that, and on all the yellow ones, and then I'll switch to blue for the blue ones. And actually, normally I would quite ink around my image as well so that that had a hue, but I think I'm going to keep the contrast of that being white. Now, I am also just a little bit obsessed with the need to edge everything, and I especially think it's important when you are laying pattern on pattern. Now, I've used 2 colours on my blending mat now, so I've moved to a different area of my blending mat, because it's going to, if I pick up the yellow ink that's on there, it will then come onto my blue paper, which I don't want. Because I'll end up with the green. That's what I'm trying to say. It's too early in the morning. I've only had 1 cup of tea and I haven't yet had my breakfast. So, so the words, I mean, they don't generally flow brilliantly anyway, but the words are definitely not flowing quite as they should right now. Okay, so I will just do that, and then I'm going to get one of my black pens and edge. And I think, as I said, it's especially important when you're doing pattern on pattern, because what it does is it provides a break between one layer and the next. And sometimes when it's pattern on pattern, it can become very busy for the eye to fully take it on. I love pattern on pattern. I think it looks amazing, but I find that the patterns stand out in their own right. And unfortunately, the trimmer I used is needing its blade sorted a little bit, so I'm not getting the best edges on that one. In fact, that's just going to annoy me. I'm going to trim that with a different trimmer. So I have now edged all my elements. I'm just going to arrange these kind of. I've ended up putting a banner on both sides of that, and they're going to overlap slightly differently to how they do on the sketch, but I am sort of following the overall idea. So I think I'm going to go with something like that. So I'll just get that glued down. Okay. And she says, I've just checked, I literally just checked my glue, and yeah, it's playing up already. Glue gate. One day they'll invent an Anjulia proof glue. But it's like I've literally just cleaned it with a wire, squirted it out onto my hand to make sure it was all working. And within the 2 seconds that it took me to put my button on for my camera, it's decided to not play anymore. I'm just going to bring this a bit further down because I don't particularly like my stamping there. I went a little bit squint. Not that there's anything wrong with squint stamping, but yeah, because the rest of it's straight, I kind of think I'll just just cover that up for the minute. That's the plan. Right. So I've got that, and then I'm going to put that one there. And then I'm going to use, there was 2 circles in the design, so I can show you the comparison in just a second. Move that bit over. There we go. So there was, so we had 2 circles that sort of actually overlapped these bits quite a bit, but obviously because I want her to be a feature, I don't particularly want that to happen, so I'm just going to have mine in the corner slightly like that instead. Maybe up just a little bit higher. So again, I've cut these with a circle punch. I've got a 2.5 inch and a 2 inch. And I've just cut those out and then edged them in black. And then we've got this butterfly that sort of sits on the circle. So I've just rearranged it a little bit. We've still got all the strips and the elements, but it's been slightly rearranged just because I wanted my focus to be slightly different. And instead of a butterfly, I'm going to put a little floral element there. So I'm just going to pop a little bit there. So these are elements from my bit box. So again, it's been nice, quick and easy crafting. I had a coloured image ready in my bit box. I've followed a sketch, so there was no thinking about, oh, what am I going to do now? I just sort of roughly followed the sketch, so that sort of gave me a direction where to go, which saved a lot of faffing, because I wasn't going, oh, do I want it there, do I want it there, do I want it there? And yeah, so because a lot of it was ready to go with the power of the bit box, and I had the thing, I've put together a page really, really quickly, which is quite exciting. Right, I'm just going to get a fine liner pen now and add a few extra little doodles. So I'm going to put a doodle border round the main image. It's a very fine liner. I'm going to create a little gap, because what I quite like to do when I've got lots of layers like this is to almost make them look like they're stitched together. So I'm just going to do the occasional sort of cross stitch effect so that it looks stitched into the page. I know you've probably seen me do that a lot because I do quite like it. I can't remember what brand it was. I think it was I'm trying to think. Hot Off the Press. They used to do a lot of stitching effects on their papers. So I don't know whether I got it from there that I like it, or whether because my first love was sewing, my first major hobby was cross stitch, so I don't know whether that's it. I don't know why I like it, but I do. So I like it and I put it in, basically. That's the sum total of that, right? Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and do the same on all the mats. I wasn't quite sure if I wanted to do that or not, but once I'd finished that bit, I was like, yeah, let's go for it. I'll do very uneven stitches here, they're definitely handmade. I quite like that as well, because I think it does make it look really sort of like handmade stitches. I prefer squiggly line stitches like that as opposed to the dashes. A lot of people do the dashes to make it look like stitching. Oops, not quite put enough glue on there. Just gonna, there we go. So again, just gonna keep going around all my edges. I'll make this one look stitched onto that one, like so. And then another to one down there. Like so. So please do, I will give you the links to all of the products I have used in my description box. And don't forget, she's a freebie, so do grab her. So if you want to have a little play with her and have her in your crafting stash, you can do for absolutely nothing. So you can grab her. And also we have the fabulous Louise Sims, who drew the sketch and sort of organised this month's collab. We've got Charmaine from Dolly Dimples, we have Lynette from Pretty Gets Gritty, and Bev from Be Crafty. I will put all of their details down below so that you can hop on over and check out what they have done. And I think it's really interesting working with a sketch like this, because you will see how each project will look so completely different, and yet we've all sort of had the same starting point. And as I said, it's just meant to be a little bit of inspiration to get you started. So wherever you are on your crafting journey, if you've never done it before, never done any crafting before, you can pick up the sketch, pick up odds and ends you've got around the house, even if it's little bits of wrapping paper and stuff like that, and make something. If you're an experienced crafter, it might just kickstart your mojo and allow you to do a project without having to do too much overthinking, because I think all of us crafters can be a little bit guilty of too much overthinking. Sometimes we just need to commit to it. So there we go, that is my page all done. So this is in my Pink Pig 11 by 11 journal, and that is it all done there. So please do check what everyone else has done. I will be back again very soon. I've got some gorgeous stuff to share with you from Shiny Silver Treasures. She had her second launch, and yeah, I'll be putting some of that stuff out. And of course there'll be a Donna and Julia Create on Saturday. Okay, so thank you very much for everything, and I will see you again very, very soon. Okay, take care everyone, and goodbye.